I know right now he's dealing with a little bit of an injury. Oh, you hurt your hamstring? You're going to be fine. This is like one of two players in the NFL who can go for 1,000 and 1,000 yards. Don't pass up on him. He's going to be ready week one. If he isn't, come back and yell at me. Your time is extremely valuable, so I'm giving you my top 40 running back rankings in less than 20 minutes. And we're in Austin, Texas, baby. It is hotter than hell itself. We traveled over 25 hours to be here with the Flock creators. Shout out to Mason from Flock Fantasy. Incredible thing he's putting together here. And I haven't slept for 3 days. I've thrown up 25 times, but fantasy football is more important. You need your goddamn rankings, so I'm giving you your rankings right now. First here, Christian McCaffrey. Why is it called Christian McCaffrey? Because we only got one player in there, and that's CMC. Stop overthinking it, all right? You're going to think about every reason not to take CMC, and then you're going to lose your league because you didn't take CMC number one. You thought you were the cool guy, all right? Averaged more points per game than any other player last year, including quarterbacks. Keep it simple, stupid, all right? KISS. The second tier we got is the RB1 Battle, all right? And this tier, we have 4 names. Our first name is Bijan Robinson out of the University of Texas. Hook 'em! Because we're in Austin, Texas right now. It is hot as shit. How do you guys live here? I am sweating in areas that I didn't know existed on my body. Bijan Robinson, wildly misused last year, right? I almost split the carries with Tyler Algier. What are we doing? But the bad man, Arthur Smith, is gone. This guy's going to be used through the air. They've talked about using him in the Christian McCaffrey role. Whole new offense. We got a brand new quarterback, baby. 2 brand new quarterbacks. In case that quarterback goes down, don't overthink it with Bijan Robinson. Breece Hall. Oh my gosh. You better call Hall. Why? Because this kid is just built different. He is different gravy. Last year, the RB2 overall, averaging over 17 points per game. So many receptions. Here's what I'll say. I think the receptions come down slightly, but I think the offense is more efficient because you got Aaron Rodgers now. You don't have Zach Wilson back there dumping the ball off 20 times to Breece Hall because he has no idea how to throw the ball down the field, okay? So it will be a more balanced offense, maybe less receptions, but I think more rushing touchdown, more efficiencies on the ground. All right, how about Jahmyr Gibbs? I know right now he's dealing with a little bit of an injury. Oh, you hurt your hamstring? You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine, Jahmyr Gibbs. This is like one of two players in the NFL who can go for 1,000 and 1,000 yards, 1,000 receptions or receiving yards and 1,000 rushing yards. So efficient on one of the best offenses in the NFL. Don't pass up on him. He's going to be ready week one. If he isn't, come back and yell at me, all right? Blame it on me if you want to. All right, Saquon Barkley. That's right. Saquon Barkley has RB1 overall upside. Why? You know how good Saquon is. Do you know how bad his offensive line's been in the past, his entire career with the New York Giants? Because it's been bad. They've been a bottom 5 offensive line in the NFL since he's been there. Now he's joining the Philadelphia Eagles, who have had a top 3 offensive line the past 3 years, one of the best offensive lines in the NFL today. I mean, there is no ceiling for a healthy Saquon Barkley and a very good offense, the best offense he's ever been a part of. Fight me in the comments if you want. Next tier, top 5 battle, okay? Let's start with Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams. Are you scared? Don't be scared, all right? If you draft Kyren Williams, you got to get the handcuff. We'll talk about that later. But Kyren Williams is the only player that Kyren Williams scored more points than any running back not named Christian McCaffrey. All right, we're trying to do this on the move for you guys. Don't overthink Kyren Williams. Yes, he's in a great offense, an offense where Sean McVay values running backs. Sean McVay in the past 7 years, 3 out of the last 7 years has had a running back finish top 2 in points per game, and 5 of the last 7 years has a running back in the top 21 in fantasy football. Come on, what are you doing? Draft him. All right, Travis Etienne. I know a lot of people hate Travis Etienne. Oh, he's so inefficient. Oh, his offensive line is so bad, right? Okay, was that not the case last year? He was inefficient. His offensive line was dog doo-doo. What's changed? Nothing's changed. They signed more offensive linemen. If he could finish as an RB3 overall, and he has arguably a slightly better offensive line, like, what are you doing? You worried about Tank Bigsby? Tank Bigsby was the worst per-touch running back in the entire NFL last year. He's going to be fed volume. Oh, well, they want to limit his workload. Yeah, they do. You think they want to put Tank Bigsby in the game when they're 17-17 versus C.J. Stroud and the Texans in the fourth quarter? Are you trying to make a joke to me? I don't know who you're talking to. Okay, let's talk about Derrick Henry, as we call him here. I think he's going to have an incredible year. You got people who are concerned. Look, he's a little bit older. I get it, but he is in an offense where Gus Edwards scored double-digit touchdowns last year. Guys, Derrick Henry could fall into 20 rushing touchdowns. I'm not saying he will. But, like, if you were to, like, bet right now, who repeats the Raheem Mostert year? Most likely no one. But if you had to bet one player, who would it be? I'm telling you who it would be for me, okay? Jonathan Taylor. Look, I don't dislike Jonathan Taylor. He's in the same tier, so you can have him as your RB6 overall, and I'm fine with that. I just drafted him in my home league. I had to, okay? I like Johnny Taylor. The only issue is I don't think he's going to catch as much passes, as the other running backs in this tier. Outside of Derrick Henry, I just like Derrick Henry's offense a little bit better. I like his opportunities at the goal line a little bit better. Lamar does not vulture touchdowns like Anthony Richardson, I project him to. So I love Jonathan Taylor, great offense, but the reality is I just don't think he's going to catch as much passes. When A-Rich is in trouble, he's going to use those legs and get out of the pocket, okay? And also on the goal line, I think he's a vulture. We've seen Lamar Jackson give his running backs the fair share of the touchdowns historically. All right, top 10 battle. Here's a My Guy. If you watched the My Guy's video, Alvin Kamara. Oh my God, the easiest pick on the draft board this year, like genuinely. I don't know that there is an easier pick in all of draft boards this year than Alvin Kamara. I mean, last year, averaged the third most points per game. And I wanted Kendre Miller to be a thing. Maybe you did too. He got injured. He can't stay healthy. They can't rely on him. So Alvin Kamara is going to be fed targets. Oh, you don't think so? Okay, well, who's the wide receiver they added in that offense to take away targets from him? Who's the running back that's a target monster that took, opportunities this offseason? Who's the wide receiver they brought in that's going to take targets from him? I mean, again, who are you playing with right now? Not me. You're not playing with me right now, all right? This isn't a stand-up comedy session. All right, how about Isaiah Pacheco? Isaiah Pacheco, man, I think he's going to have one hell of a year. And that Kansas City offense, which, by the way, was pretty poor last year, this offense is going to be so much better. Think about the amount of red zone opportunities and Isaiah Pacheco is going to get in a offense that actually has receivers to take away, attention from the run game. Isaiah Pacheco could have 1,400 yards and 12 rushing touchdowns. Like, I genuinely think that's possible. He's a great pick this year. All right, Devon Achane, let's talk about it. There's this narrative out there where if you're not drafting Devon Achane, then you're too scared, okay? And I understand the narrative. Because Devon Achane has a type of ceiling that no one else in this tier has. All right, I agree with you. If you look at everybody else in this tier, I would say Pacheco has the highest ceiling. But I would also argue he has maybe the lowest floor. All right, Achane was not able to stay healthy last year. I'm not saying he won't be healthy this year. Okay, don't hear what I'm not saying. But I personally think Raheem Mostert is going to split the carries. And a lot of people will disagree with me on that. I like Achane. I just think Mostert is the better value. Josh Jacobs, Jingleheimer, Schmidt. All right, the cheese man gets his cheese in Green Bay. Josh Jacobs is going to have a great year. Don't be worried about him. He's another really good pick on your draft boards this year. People are worried about A.J. Dillon. They're worried about the Green Bay offense because it splits carries, and it does. You're absolutely right. But this is the best offense Josh Jacobs has ever been on, like ever in his career, easily, by far. Like, tell me in the comments why I'm wrong if you think I am. This is the best offense he's going to be on. I think he will fall into 10 rushing touchdowns. How much of the workload? You're already getting him at a baked price. If you thought Josh Jacobs was going to get 65% of this workload, he would be a second-round pick. You're getting him in the 3rd and 4th round, all right? Rachaad White. I'm a little concerned about Rachaad White. I still think he's a very good pick in PPR leagues. However, the offensive coordinator has changed here, okay? So we have to keep that in mind. Dave Canales is no longer a Tampa Bay Bucks coordinator, so we have to think about this. How will the offense change? Will they try and change things, as far as how they utilize the running backs out of the backfield? Bucky Irving is there. Will he get a role? I still think he's a very safe player. I just don't know that he has the upside of a top 7 finish that he had last year. All right, also, Joe Mixon and James Cook. Love Joe Moneybags. Think about this. Joe Moneybags has been one of the most inefficient running backs, with that much volume in the NFL in the past decade. But all he does is score touchdowns. All he does is get volume on a good offense. All right, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, a lot of opportunities, a great offense. Where is he now? He's with C.J. Stroud, right? Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, great offense, so many opportunities. Guys, Dameon Pierce is not good, okay? He's not good. Look at it. Look at his usage in the preseason and tell me he's good, all right? And then James Cook, who, by the way, James Cook is sneaky. James Cook is sneaky now, all right? Do not be afraid to click James Cook when he is on the board. This dude is going to dominate volume. You saw all throughout the preseason when the starters were out there, James Cook was cooking. Let my guy cook. Don't be afraid. All right, top 15 to 20 battle. We've got Aaron Jones here, okay? Aaron Jones, I believe, there's this narrative around town right now where, okay, you can't draft Aaron Jones because of Ty Chandler. That's like if someone told me you can't draft Joe Mixon because of Dameon Pierce. That doesn't make any sense. Aaron Jones last year when he got healthy into the playoffs, that stretch, I think it was week 15 onwards, was averaging over 115 total yards per game, averaging over 5 yards per carry. He's still that dude. He's still that dude, and I think the offense is still going to be good in Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell offenses, come on. Come on, y'all. You're joking. All right, Ken Walker, we're going to go through the rest of this tier. I really love Ken Walker here. Young running back, attached to an offense that might throw the ball more, might be a better offense there. Zamir White, look, I get it. If you don't like Zamir White, I understand. I like him this year. It's a volume play. It's a volume play. The guy is going to eat volumes like targets. He's going to eat targets. He's going to eat carries. I know they have, Alexander Madison there. He's going to eat goal line rushing opportunities. I just think, like, in the 7th, 8th round, if you go 0 RB, there's maybe not a better target there. We got David Montgomery. It's very easy to draft David Montgomery now with the Jahmyr Gibbs news. You guys already know how good he's been. We've got Ramondre Stevenson. Going to be on a bad offense. We'll get plenty of targets in PPR leagues. I love him. If you're in a standard league, no PPR, don't draft Ramondre Stevenson. I promise you, don't. It doesn't matter. Don't draft him anywhere. You're not going to like it, okay? Raheem Mostert, one of my favorite value picks in the entire draft. Last year, over 20 total touchdowns. By the way, he only needs to get like 8 touchdowns to return his ADP this year. He's so reasonably priced. And there's this narrative that like, he's too old, he's too old, he's too old. Guys, why do we care about a player being old? We care about them being old because of the amount of rushing attempts in their career that's broken down their body. Well, what if I told you that Raheem Mostert has less rushing attempts in his career than Saquon Barkley, David Montgomery? So like, what are we freaking out about? Like, Jonathan Taylor has more career rushing attempts. So stop freaking out. This guy wasn't a starter his whole career. He's finally hitting his stride. I still think he's going to be a critical part of this offense. We've also got James Conner. James Conner, AKA can't stay healthy to save his life. Injury shark right now. Has him projected to miss about 2 to 3 games. He's like top 5 in their projections right now to miss time. He is going to be on a better offense. He is going to be the dude. Draft him, but be aware. If he goes down this year, this is the first year in Arizona where there's a legit threat behind him who could take over in Trey Benson. And I know you guys were hating on Trey Benson on the Dynasty channel. How about week 2? Should we talk about the week 2 tape? That boy is scary. Let me tell you what. Let him in the open field and see what happens. All right, Najee Harris. Najee Harris is a riser for me. Why? The Jaylen Warren injury. I think he's probably going to miss week 1, if not week 2. And even if you don't want to bet on Najee Harris, like for the entirety of the season, you can probably trade him after week 2 or 3. He's going to get the bulk of the carries. And he's on an offense that's very like run focused. All right, let's keep going. We got DeAndre Swift here. DeAndre Swift, I'm a little bit lower on him. I do think they're going to share carries in Chicago. I think Khalil Herbert's going to be more involved than we want him to. Rashawn Johnson. So I like Swift, but an offense led by a rookie quarterback. And I know everyone's talking about the Caleb Williams highlights. I mean, I think he was 5 for 18. They didn't score on a single drive, if I'm not mistaken, a touchdown. So I still like Swift, but let me ask you, if the guy that you're drafting relies on targets to be good in fantasy football, and he's not even like the 4th best target on his team, how excited are you about that, right? I mean, like, you got Roma Dunze, you've got Keenan Allen, you've got DJ Moore. Is he 4th? Do they prefer Gerald Everett? I mean, what the hell's going on there? Why is Gerald Everett getting so much work? Anyway, and then Javonte Williams. Javonte's fun. Javonte's fun. So cheap. Great 0 RB target. 2nd year off the ACL. And we expect him to be a much better player 2nd year off the ACL. All right, let's move on to 0 RB targets. What does that mean? That means you started your draft wide receiver heavy. All right, you maybe grabbed an elite tight end and a quarterback, and now you're looking to fill your running backs with startable guys that could get bigger roles if there are injuries. So let's talk about some of these names. Jonathan Brooks. Guys, you're not drafting Jonathan Brooks to start in week 1. You're not even drafting him to start him week 5. You're drafting him to start in week 8, 9, 10 into the playoffs. He's clearly the best talent in that room. That offense could be better with Dave Canales now in town. Remember, he's the one who fixed the Seahawks offense with Geno Smith. He fixed the Bucs offense with Baker Mayfield. Don't sleep on those Panthers this year. All right, we've also just going to name off some of these guys: Zach Moss, Austin Eckler, Jaylen Warren, Devin Singletary, Brian Robinson, Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard, Zeke, and Chase Brown. I want to talk about the Titans real fast, the Titans backfield. I think there's value here. All right, let them fall. Let Tony and Tajay fall. Whoever falls the furthest, grab them, because this offense could be much better than we're all projecting right now. Whole new regimes in town, okay? Whole new regimes in town. Calvin Ridley has joined. They draft a offensive lineman and J.C. Latham in the 1st round. I think this team is going to be much better than people currently project. Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. Eckler is your guy to target in PPR formats. If you're in a half PPR, let's go B-Rob. He's probably going to get most of the opportunities on the goal line. Why are they close for me? I like B-Rob more. But the reason they're close for me is because Eckler's already getting goal line opportunities in the preseason. So I can't really sit here and say I think B-Rob's just the goal line guy. Like Eckler won't get any volume because they're already showing us he probably will. So, something to at least consider. All right, Devin Singletary is going to get so much volume, he's going to drown. It's a terrible offense. Does that interest you? I'm asking you. You tell me. All right, moving on to the last tier, which is sleepers. I love all these players. In fact, I will target. I'm actually saying this legitimately. I love this tier. I will target every one of these players. Like, these are my ideal RB4 and 5s on my team. Gus the Bus Edwards. He could do exactly what he did last year. Good offense, probably the goal line guy. He could get 10 rushing touchdowns. Why not? They're going to rush the ball a lot with the Chargers. We know that by now. Jerome Ford. I know every time I post a ranking video, people are yelling at me. They're like, where the hell is Nick Chubb? Haven't you ever watched Nick Chubb play? Yeah, certainly. I have a fantasy football channel. I've watched Nick Chubb play football. Okay, here's the issue. Nick Chubb is coming off an injury that is severe. He tore his ACL in the same knee that he tore in college. And not only did he tear his ACL, it was nasty. He also tore his MCL. Okay, this is a terrible injury. Think Javonte Williams. Think J.K. Dobbins type knee injury. And the reality is they don't need to rush him. They don't need to bring him back. He might be playing at like 70% of himself by week 10. Is that something that interests you? Maybe. But we like Jerome Ford here. He was a great starter. Once Nick Chubb went down, I think weeks 2 onwards, when Nick Chubb went down, he was the top 16 running back in fantasy football. All right, let's talk about some handcuffs here. Blake Corum, Trey Benson. Oh boy, I want one of these guys on every single one of my fantasy teams. Blake Corum is the best handcuff in all of fantasy football. I will keep preaching it from the mountaintops. I preached it in Sydney, Australia. I'm preaching it today. And the Bible, what's it called? Bible Belt? Bible Belt. I'm preaching it in the Bible Belt here in Austin, Texas, okay? Blake Corum could win leagues. He absolutely could win leagues. Why? Because he's part of a Sean McVay offense. Kyren Williams has had like 5 injuries since he entered the NFL. He's only been in the NFL 2 years. A broken foot, a broken hand. Like, how many injuries do you want to talk about? Because he's been injured all over the place. If you're going to draft Kyren Williams, you must lock up Blake Corum. I know we don't like drafting handcuffs from the same team. This is the only time I'm going to tell you this offseason. You got to have Blake Corum, okay? Trey Benson. I know people were clowning on him preseason week 1. I think he's a very good player. He showed that preseason week 2, and he's not even had a real offensive line to play behind just yet. And then Chuba Hubbard, great target. We love Jonathan Brooks. We also love Chuba Hubbard. For some reason, people think that has to be exclusive. You got to like one or the other. How about I like both of them at ADP? I'll draft both of them. What's the problem with that? I mean, Chuba Hubbard was a top 15 running back when he beat out Miles Sanders last year. I think that was from like week 6 onwards, if I remember from my research. And he was a very suitable guy. That's why I like 0 RB. He's a fine guy. The rest of your roster's carrying you. Okay, he'll give you like 10 to 12 points a week. That's perfectly fine. So how'd I do? I'm sweating my ass off. I'm sweating in places I didn't know exist. My butt is so sweaty. It's crazy. I might need to go take a shower. We plan on doing a wide receiver recording video. Maybe we'll release that tomorrow. I'm sweating in areas I genuinely didn't know exist, but we're here in Austin, Texas, guys. Hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, we're going to be doing a real draft with Mason from Flock Fantasy with the other creators. I'll have my editor put the YouTube link on the screen. Go subscribe to the Flock League. Last thing I'll say is if you want my cheat sheet, let's say you're on the draft board and you're like, wait, what would that idiot Zach do here? Well, you can get my cheat sheet on the Flock Fantasy website. All you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. It's got my guys. It's got sleepers. It's got fades. It's got boom busts, okay? But I'm not a rapper, okay? So if you want to support the show and you want to get some good rankings, I just used them the other day. I think my team's pretty good, but obviously they're my rankings, right? Hopefully they're good. So anyway, I appreciate y'all for watching. Hit the like button. We'll see you soon. All love. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, LAND, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.